Hi guys, so this is my new video. This is Bhardwaj, and this video is specifically for engineering students who are preparing for UPSC and they're considering or have already decided to take on English literature as an optional. I get a lot of engineering aspirants, and even currently in my program, I would say a majority of my students are from engineering backgrounds. It used to surprise me in the beginning that why so many engineers are picking English literature optional, and I used to wonder whether they'll go do good or what. But in my past few years experience, engineers have done exceptionally well with English literature optional, and it has made me wonder what are the areas that they are good at naturally and why they do well with English literature optional, and what what can be the best strategy forward for an engineering aspirant looking to pick an optional. So I'll go through based on my experience. First of all, let's start by thinking, why do you pick English literature optional being an engineering student? So I always do a very thorough background understanding of any aspirant that comes to me, because the reasons for picking an optional, the right reasons, are very crucial for your success or failure. So if you picked an optional based on whatever that the coaching centers have advised you, or your friends, your peers, there can be right reasons and there can be wrong reasons. But a lot of engineering students who come to me and then I ask them this question, there are typically two answers. One is this, that they cannot pick their own subject, whatever branch of engineering they're doing, whether it's too hard or too comprehensive, or whether it's not available as an optional. So because they cannot pick their own subject, so they have to look outside. So that's one reason. Second is, they think, so when they're shopping for optional, they think that English seems to be an easier one because they've all read English at school level and they've read books and novels, so they think it's all about just reading the novels and it'll be easy. So this when this comes to me, that your reasons for picking English literature, it doesn't matter whether what background you come from. If you think it's an easier optional compared to any other optional, then this is a wrong idea, especially for engineers. If you're not able to pick a subject that you've studied for 4 years and you're picking English literature because you think it's an easier option, then it's going to be a wrong reason for picking it. Okay, I'll tell you why you should be picking English literature for you as an engineer. So the right reason for picking any optional is, first of all, your interest in that optional, and to be able to understand your interest. Now I'm interested in anthropology, but I would never go and pick anthropology simply based on my interest. So interest needs to be well defined and should be a well educated guess. So you should look at the syllabus, the entire syllabus of English literature. You should understand what it all entails. What will you're going to have to be doing to get a lot of marks in this optional. So you look at the syllabus, you talk to somebody who has done English literature, or you talk to somebody who teaches English literature, you talk to somebody who understands the syllabus, and figure out that there are 14 novels, 5 plays and hundreds of poems, and you have to go through all this in 5 months. So this is the task. And a lot of aspirants, whatever background, it is a monumental task to read 14 novels, 5 plays and hundreds of poems within 4 to 5 months. So you have to bear that in mind. Having said that, why it is a good optional for you, especially for engineering students, is one, once you understand the syllabus, 14 novels, 5 plays, hundreds of poems, this is it, right? This is the entire thing. UPSC notification says that the first hand reading of the original text, that is all there is. In my program, this is all we do. We do the first hand reading of the text and we attempt answers. So we focus on the reading and we focus on the writing. I'll come to the writing part in a bit. So why is it a good optional for an engineer? First of all, you guys use both sides of your brain, primarily the logical and the regional side of your brain, which is super important for analysis. And in literature, analysis is the number one skill set that you're going to be using. So you're good with your logic and reasons, and you apply that logic and reason on the text, Remember that they are not going to test your literary knowledge. The exam, the optional is open to everyone, and there is a reason for it. And especially based on this year's paper, I'm pretty sure that they want the questions to be easy enough for anyone to tackle from a common sense level. So no literary, super literary knowledge is required. So if you're thinking that, okay, I don't have a literature background and I'm an engineer, how would I cope or compete with those with MPhils or even PhDs or masters in English literature? You don't need to. Common sense level, logical analysis, and a good reading of text. That is it. So why is it a good optional for you? As I said, number one reason is that you think from logic and you apply logic. You're trained to apply logic and reasons to solve problems. That is what an engineer is. So that will come pretty handy. Second is, you guys are used to writing answers which are short and concise and brief, right? Engineers use a lot of maps, a lot of graphical images, a lot of graphs, a lot of charts, and I'm not saying that you'll be going to be needing all that in your English answers, but all that process of writing an answer, putting it down in the clear-cut points, is what an answer should look like. So obviously you won't be using charts and graphs. Some students have used mind maps in their English literature answers, so you can do that, but your ability to write concisely is an advantage with UPSC English literature optional. And comparing this to students coming from English literature background, and this is what I was a little surprised with. I imagined that students from English literature background would be writing very good answers. Obviously they have the content knowledge and the text knowledge, but they're used to writing longer answers. In most of the universities around the country, there is no word limit on answers, whether it's BA or the masters. So they're used to writing 1000 words, 1500 words, 2000 word answers, and half the answer in the beginning is just context building. In UPSC, we only have 250, 300 words. The shorter notes are 150 words. So we don't have time to build context. You gotta get straight to the point. And this is where an engineer is actually already trained in. So when you write your answers in my program, right from the first week, I don't have to fight or struggle with getting you down to 250 words. You're already writing shorter answers, concise and brief. Sometimes I have to work upon to, add more analysis and expand an answer a bit, because you're used to writing in bullet points. So it's an added advantage for you that you have the logic and the reason, and you have the ability to write concise and clear answers. And any text that is in the syllabus, first hand reading of it, basic analysis from your common sense level, and writing of good, concise and sweet answers makes it for a fantastic optional for an engineer. And a lot of engineers are doing well. One of my student, Navendu, we've done a video together. He's from IIT Delhi, not from a literature background. This year, one of the students is from IIT Roorkee. A lot of students from engineering backgrounds are making it and scoring marks. So it's definitely a good optional for you. What are the challenges that you will face? This is a good space to talk about that. The first challenge is going to be the reading of the original text, because you're not used to it. In the engineering schools, you do read a lot of text, but you do a kind of a cursory and a fast scan reading. You just understand the areas, the concepts, and you don't read cover to cover. In English literature, there has to be a primary skill set, and that is where students from English literature background have a slight edge, because they're used to reading text. But having said that, a lot of universities around the country, and I don't want to get into controversy, but in a lot of universities, a lot of colleges, a lot of BAs and MAs, students are not actually reading original texts. It's a shame. So if you can get down to reading the text, put your head down and finish those texts. In my program, we read one text every week, right? So 14 to 16 weeks, we finish the entire syllabus, and this is all that it takes. You don't need an year to read the text. So whatever you can read in 1 week is good enough. So that is one challenge for you. Second challenge is obviously going to be the structure of the answer, though you have the basics of analysis within you as an engineer. But you will need to understand what areas and concepts in a literary text that we are interested in, we as in the UPSC is interested in. And just understanding those concepts and increasing your awareness of that based on your original reading of the text. Now, the original reading of the text is a skill set that will need to be developed as you prepare for your exam. This is a primary skill set. So when you start reading, it would make sense. Then you do the next text, it will make slightly more sense. So by the time you finish your syllabus in the first time around, you will be understanding a lot of figure of speech and literary tropes such as images, symbolism, metaphors, similes, all those so-called literary terms. You will start yourself, you will start understanding them. And because we are also doing poetry, so you will be forced to figure out the images and the symbols and the themes of each poem. And that is where the first hand reading of the original text is such a big skill set. So this is the primary challenge. If you can get down, commit yourself to finish the syllabus between 4 to 5 months and decide and make a commitment with yourself that you will read the original text in good time, and obviously you will need a mentor for that. This is pretty good optional for you. So the challenges are your inability to read original text because you have never read them. Second, your answer writing, the structuring of your answer. Structuring of the answer is not anything, there is nothing specific to English literature optional. There is a structure that is used by, that should be used by all the optionals, even the GS answers. So we work on that strategy. The best strategy forward for any engineering student is one, first of all, find the right reasons for picking this optional. There is a lack of resource, mentorship, notes, materials. You can get confused. Self-studying English literature for an engineering student is going to be a challenge. So you will have to find a mentor, you will have to find a peer group if you can, you will have to find somebody with some understanding of the literature. So you need to figure out, when you are deciding, in the deciding phase, you need to understand why you are doing it and do you have enough resources to prepare this optional, because you will need resources. Students from literature background, they have resources, right? But still self-studying this is going to be a challenge. So if you can find an optional that is as interesting and as appealing to you with lot more resources and mentorship, then you can think about that. So the best strategy forward is, first of all, find your reasons, right reasons for picking this optional and weigh all the pros and cons. As I said, it is a good optional for you. Second is, always find a mentor, always find somebody with whom you can share and brainstorm your answers, because answer writing is the crucial skill set which gets you marks, right? You won't get marks based on how much you know, you will get marks on what you write. So answer writing is the second most primary skill set for which you need help. Strategy forward is, set up a timeline, build up all the resources, find mentors, find guidance, find teachers, build up the resource pool and set up a deadline, 4 to 5 months, and get it done with. You should be doing the syllabus at least twice. So if you do it once in good time, you can revise it very well after your prelims, hopefully. So figure this out and go in all in. You can do it. A lot of engineers have succeeded with English literature optional. A lot of my students who are doing better are from engineering background. Some are even working full time and they're able to do it. Reading of an original text is not as difficult as trying to understand an economics or a history or a geographical technical text which you have no idea of. These are classic books, the poets, the authors, the fantastic books, fantastic classic books. They will add to your overall understanding of the world. They will definitely expand your horizons in terms of how you think about the world. You will be writing better answers overall for your GS, for your essays, and you will be developing a skill set that you don't have currently, the skill set of thinking coherently and expressing yourself in a coherent manner, digesting a vast data of information and expressing it in the most coherent manner. It's a skill set that you will be gaining when you study for this English literature optional. So good luck to every engineer out there who's thinking of picking this optional or who has already started preparing. Good luck to everyone. Stay in touch, get in touch if you need my help, and best of luck to everyone listening. Thanks a lot. This is Harsh Bhardwaj.